recording the audio, it's just the two of us talking, so. Just for, So, we're here today to celebrate the release of my seventh novel, which is the third book in the Fedalian Chronicles, a YA epic fantasy series. This is Season of Ruin, and my sister here is going to ask me some questions, interview style, and we're going to avoid spoiling book 3, because obviously it just came out. People haven't read it yet.
I haven't even read it, so
Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
I can't spoil it.
And after the event, we will have all my books available for sale. So if you're missing any, you can get any of them there. And yeah, let's get started.
Okay, all right. So my first question for you today is, how do you navigate writing a book in a series that's already been published? So like, not being able to change certain things, or maybe like how far ahead have you decided by the time books have been published, that sort of thing.
Okay, so for context, the first book in the Fedalian Chronicles published in July of 2021. Welcome. So it's been 5 years since the first book in the series published. So once book 1's published, I can't change anything that happened in book 1. So it was difficult at times to navigate writing book 3. Book 2 less so, because I did some revisions before book 1 came out. But yeah, there's quite a lot of trying to figure out, like, there's certain things that I wanted to do, and I was like, well, I didn't establish that in the magic system, or I didn't, like, the character's done this, so they can't do that, and so it was hard at times there's a lot of, like, fiddling, and, like, finding the loopholes in what I said, and, like, a lot of the space was in, like, in book 1, and not being too strict on certain, like, aspects of the magic, so that I could weave in the rules to it later. So, but yeah, it was quite difficult with book 3, especially because so much changed in book 1 and 2's revisions over the course of like the 5 years. So this one was definitely a beast.
So similarly to that, with how many drafts the series has had, how do you decide when the book is done?
How many drafts?
Well, yeah. So book 1, I published draft 14, and so that would be at least 3 to 4 like fine editing drafts, and then the first draft, obviously, so 9 heavy revision drafts for that one. And book 2 is similar. This one, I'd only written 2 to 3 drafts before I went back to revise the first 2. So this one didn't have to go through as much work, because I did a lot of the work in the other 2 books before I came into this one. This one was about, I want to say 5 or 6 more. But really, you just get to the point where you're fiddling with it, It's like, if you can tell yourself, oh, I changed this sentence, and oh, I changed that color, and then it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's never gonna be 100% done, so it's usually about the 90 to 95% mark, where you're just changing small things back and forth. It's like, no, stop touching it, it's over, you're done. And also with, like, I got several rounds of feedback, so when the feedback starts becoming less,
That's true.
then you're getting closer to it being good.
Yes. Alright, so what do you miss the most about writing this series? Terrible answer before.
I'm gonna miss the most probably the characters, because again, I've been writing them since I was 13 years old, so it's going to be interesting to because it took so long to revise all 3 books. I was writing other stuff in between, but I always got to come back to them. Again, they were always waiting, so I was like, oh, I'm having like a bad time with this book. Oh, well, Eyes in the Sky are there. Let me go talk to them for a bit. So it'll be weird not to have the book to go back to, because it's always been in the back of my head, and I guess it'll always be there. But definitely, I think the characters, because I spent so long building each of them, that it'll just be weird to not have that. You want Kleenex? I'm gonna need Kleenex probably.
So, sort of opposite side of that, what did you find the most difficult about writing this particular series that you didn't face with the last one?
This series compared to the other series. So I think the most difficult thing was probably the magic system. and just like the world building in general, because Silent Night is fictional, but it's set in our world in a fictional future. So a lot of like the parameters, I just kind of thought to myself, what would happen in like 50, 100 years? But it's still a lot based on our world, whereas this is a fictional world. And I would say that the magic system is the hardest part to like get that down pat, to have like certain rules so that it couldn't just do everything. But then there'd be scenes where they're trying to write it, and I'm like, well, crap, I can't do that because of this. Like, there's one scene where the characters, like in the revision of this book, where the characters get themselves in a really horrible situation, and they like, I needed them to not have a way out in order for a certain other thing in the scene to happen. But then after I was reading it later, I can't remember if I figured it out or one of my feedback partners figured it out, but they were like, you know, the characters can use portals. So this whole scene doesn't, I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
And so it took me forever to like rework that scene to get it so that they were in trouble because of the magic that they all had access to. Like, okay, what kind of situation would all of this not work, basically? So it was hard. There was a few times where I was like, wait, they can't do that because that character could do this. And so
Yeah, that's a big thing, is like making magic not too powerful, so that there's still a challenge, but then you also want to make your characters powerful, and it's like a balance,
yeah,
right?
and just forgetting certain things, like, well, wait, that character could do that.
Yes. We kind of just spoke about difficult scenes.
So you gotta speak up a bit.
Yes, okay, so.
I know something too.
I can hear.
Okay, good.
I hear that. So what was your favorite scene across the whole series? Maybe not including this, we don't
Whole
want
series.
to spoil anything.
So it's hard to say favorite scenes and to remember the scenes that actually made the final cut versus the scenes that are no longer real, only in my head. Gosh, my favorite scene for the whole series. I think my favorite scene for the whole series is like chapter, I want to say it's 58 or 59 in this one.
Yeah.
I just finished
That's true.
finishing it, so
Yeah.
don't ask me the chapter is in the first book. I cannot help you. Yeah, I'd say definitely the final, like one of the final battle scenes in this book. It was just so epic and like cinematic in my head, and it was one of those scenes where, what?
I'm sorry.
I'm not spoiling it. I said it was cinematic. It was one of those scenes where when I got it down on paper, it was still just as epic as it had been in my head.
Yes.
Because sometimes you're like, oh, some sort of, and then you write it and you're like, what is this? Like, it didn't need a lot of editing and revising, it just kind of like came out fully formed. So I'd say that's one of my favorite scenes. And just, other than that, like any of like the big plot twist scenes throughout the series, because I'm just sitting there writing like, oh my god, people are gonna lose their minds. And then they did, so I did good.
Yeah. Right, so you kind of mentioned this, but like, was there anything significant that you had to cut from the series, or like what was the piece that you were the most sad to have to cut?
It's all like, a lot of it is like a blur now, but I would say there was one like, so the book doesn't focus very much on romance. There is like romance subplots in it, but it's not one of those books where the romance is super integral to the series. But in the first few drafts of it when I was younger, I tried to make the romance more a part of it.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working. And so like I cut it back and back and back until like I almost like completely got rid of it.
Okay.
And it's what the story needed, but it was one of the things like I really wanted it to work, and it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't what the characters needed, so it was hard to get that right. And then another thing I was sad to cut was in book 2 when they visit the Shadow Watch. There used to be a lot more. That was a lot bigger chunk of the book originally, and then it just didn't make sense later with the revision, so I had to cut a lot of that out, which I was sad about because it was fun, but it was kind of like, it was super fun to write, but it didn't serve a purpose. Like it wasn't pointless. Like it helped me as a writer, but I was sad to cut that. I'd say, yeah.
Right. Was there any part of the series that sort of like wrote itself that you were like surprised when it happened?
Gosh.
Some good at writing questions. Well,
Part of the series kind of wrote itself.
I mean, if there is no answer, you can say there isn't, but.
I don't really like. So I don't see it the way like some authors say like these characters just went on their own adventure.
Yes.
I don't see it that same way because I don't outline it like chapter by chapter, and like some people have really extensive outlines where it's basically like the whole book in point form before they start writing it. I have more like this has to happen and that has to happen and this has to happen, but the gap between those things can be quite large at times. So I'm not like extensively outlined, but at the same time the characters don't usually like go off on their own.
Yeah.
I would say like one of like the easiest parts, I guess, was like the friendships that developed slowly over the book between characters that weren't friends.
Yeah.
Like that was just very natural, and I wasn't expecting it to happen. It wasn't. I mean, I guess I could say like the one thing that was unexpected was the one character, how he was originally meant to be a small part of the book and then slowly became a much larger part of the book, which I didn't expect. So I guess I could say his whole arc just kind of showed up. Without spoilers.
Yes. All right. So, which characters or aspects of the series do you identify the most with?
Characters I identify the most with.
Does that be character?
I would say it's a good mix of both Aizen and Sky.
Okay.
And they're like the oldest characters in the series. So Sky I identify with her like kind of like leadership skills and like how she's like she's the younger sister technically, but Aizen and Sky are twins, but like she's kind of like the older sister.
Yes.
So I identify with that way as obviously I'm an older sister.
Yes.
And she likes books and she's very creative and she has like big ideas and big ambitions. And then Aizen, he has a lot of pieces of me that I can't even quite explain. I just know like he has my impatience and my like short temper and like just holding a grudge. Like a lot of my negative qualities, like he's got a lot of that, but he's also super loyal and good with his friends, and like he will fight for who he cares about. He's a little Sky, but yeah, I'd say those two pretty evenly. Because when I first started, I was so young that it just got a lot of me.
Yeah. All right. And so, what would be essential to preserve if this series were adapted for film or television?
Oh my god, what is this, a professional interview right
Yes,
here?
it is.
What would be essential to preserve?
Yeah, like what's like the one thing that you're like they can't change? Other than like
Everything.
direction of plot, obviously. But.
Honestly, like if I don't get like J.K. Rowling level clearance on the Bill project,
let's
it's not
just
gonna
pretend
happen.
that
But
you know.
no, I would say the one thing is like the basic world building.
Okay.
Because it's such an integral part of the story. Like they can't have it snow in summer. It just doesn't happen. And they can't have there be like grass in winter because that also does not happen.
Yeah.
And just the basics of like the way the characters look as well. Like everybody in summer except for Aizen because he has, I guess albinism.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody else in summer is a person of color.
Yes.
And that's just how they're born. It's so there should not be any white people
No.
in summer and vice versa. Like it's
Yes.
just, it's not real. It's you've
Yeah.
got one kingdom that's got all, and then obviously if spring and autumn were not destroyed, they kind of be mixed. Like they're not as pale as winter, and but that's kind of an integral part of the story. Same with the eye color. Like they all gotta wear brown contacts if they're playing summer
Yes.
characters, and they all have to wear blue if they're playing winter characters.
Yes.
Because they can't physically have any other. So that'd be like something that I'd be like fighting for because it's a integral part of the story for reasons that I can't say because spoilers, but
Yes.
it's a huge thing.
Right, so moving on to some more like general writing questions. Are there any themes that you find yourself returning to again and again in your writing?
Yeah, mostly like the basic theme of like good versus evil is a huge one, obviously.
Yes.
My stories always have like, it's not necessarily like villains that are misunderstood, like they're bad people.
Yeah.
There's some villains that are misunderstood, but there's always like a big bad that has reasons for being bad. It's not just they're bad, like evil is to say that Like a deeper like dive into like I guess the good versus evil thing, but in like the main character and their journey of getting really close to the wrong side and then
Okay.
finding their way back to
Yeah.
the other side. So an instance in the Guild trilogy, the main character is an assassin, so she's kind of already like you kind of start the book and you're like, is this our hero? Is this our villain? But she kind of toes the line between both, and it's her journey of whether or not she can find her way to the light if it's ever too late to go back to the good side.
Yes.
And I explore that in this one as well with a bunch of different characters, and obviously mostly the main character, Aizen. He has some like really, really dark moments where it could be so easy to like become the people he's fighting against. And that's the big one. It's like when the characters realize that they're getting too close to being just like the people that they're trying to take down.
Yeah.
And then having to find their way back out of that, or if they will.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
What is one piece of writing advice you swear by and one you think should be ignored,
Ooh.
if there is one?
One writing advice that you swear by. There's so many like, because it's so nuanced. Like you've got to give advice specific almost to
Yeah,
the
that's
person
true.
you're talking
Yes.
to, because something I always recommend is like that you outline.
Yeah.
But some people they don't. So like there's two different camps if you're unfamiliar. There's people that are called plotters, and they do a lot of plotting before they start the book, and then there's people that are called pantsers, as in they write by the seat of their pants and they don't have a plan. I'm actually in the middle. I'm what they call a plantser.
Okay. Did you invent that?
No, I didn't invent that. That's what they call it. So like I said, I do a little bit of outlining, have some points that I know I want to hit in the rough chronological order, but there's a lot of gaps in the middle. Whereas pantser would just maybe know a couple things, but they have no idea what's going to happen.
Bold.
And my advice is that you try a little bit of outlining, just because, especially if you're new to this and you don't know, like I feel like you don't know if you are a plotter or a pantser until you
Yes.
try one or the other, and I would suggest you try plotting first.
Yeah.
Because if you are a plotter and you don't do the plotting, you're gonna be very upset. Because it just makes revision so much harder when you go into the story and you don't know where you're going. You have to do a lot more rewrites
Yeah.
later. But again, it does depend on the person. And the one piece of advice that I would ignore, I've had so many people tell me terrible things.
Yeah.
It's wild. I guess there's like a lot of people that say that you should research the market and like write to market to a
Yeah.
certain extent. And I think that there's a certain like, if you have multiple book ideas, say you have like 6 different books ideas, and one of them is vampires, and you know the vampires are hot right now, I might write that one first, you know? But if you have no idea for a vampire, like all these other ideas, but vampires are hot, and you start writing vampires, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yes.
write what you wanna write, or you're not gonna finish it, you're not gonna have the gumption. I mean, this series took 13 years. When I was writing it to market, the market's dead. It's 13 years in the past.
Yeah.
So if you hear people say that, like you really gotta take it with a grain of salt, because I think a lot of times they say that with the knowledge of like their 20 years experience and they understand the nuance, but they're saying it to someone who doesn't
Yes.
understand the nuance. So
Yeah.
I'd be aware of that, because again, it's gonna take you at least 2 to 3 years to write the book, and the market again will be gone by the time you get it there. So
Right. Are there any formats or genres you haven't explored but would like to in the future?
well, we have paperbacks, hardcovers, and ebooks, and Silent Night and Sickaroos are now in audio. So we are on our way that way. Audio will eventually I'd like to have the full catalog in audio, but it does take a lot more time and
Yeah.
it's more expensive, so it'll be a slow build. As for genres, most of my books will be fantasy,
Yeah.
but there'll be like different like subgenres of fantasy.
Yeah.
Some might lean more towards the romance side. I do have a couple ideas I'd like to try for like science fiction.
Okay.
And then I might dabble in like a few romances as well, but not in the traditional sense. They're gonna be more devastating.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
so probably won't necessarily be able to romance, or like, I don't know, like I want something that's going to like, you're gonna be upset, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, there's lots of fantasy ideas, but I could dabble in some cross-genre stuff, but you're not gonna see me write like a thriller.
Tell them that's rude.
Apologies. I should have silenced my phone.
Oh my god, unprofessional. Yes, you're not gonna see me write like a thriller, it's just
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay. Right. And then sort of that, similar to that, what's next?
What's
Blue
next?
Victoria, what's next?
So, I haven't written anything in like 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
So, I don't know, I think I've just been pouring so much into this release that I just haven't had any bandwidth, but I have a couple things kind of in the pipeline. There's like 3 or 4 projects that have some kind of legs underneath them,
Okay.
and I haven't quite figured out which one is best to write next, because I'm kind of like equally excited about all of those. I haven't really honed in on which one is like burning the brightest at the moment. But I have a standalone gothic fairy fantasy, which has high, it has high chances.
Okay.
I have a fairy tale retelling duology. I have an epic romantasy type thing with dragons, which might be 2 books, it might be 4, I can't quite tell. It could be 4 books in a 2-book trench coat, so that's kind of why I haven't touched it yet, because I'm afraid it's going to be like another big thing. Like, I'm not ready for another big thing yet. And then I have a couple other standalones that I'm toying with, but there will be something, but it probably won't be for, I don't know, maybe late next year, but I can't promise that. It's probably the year after, but, because I haven't again started writing it.
Okay, cool. All right, so to wrap it all up, I've got a rapid fire this or that. Okay?
Oh boy.
No time for thinking, no follow-up questions, just say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
This is good.
Okay.
I wish there was more lyrics.
I know, it's gonna be good. All right, so having to climb a ladder every time you want to get in and out of Echo's treehouse, or Rosetta's egregious perfume.
The latter.
Okay. A story idea with characters and a world but no plot, or plot but no characters or world.
As a plot,
That
but
was
no
too much
characters.
thinking. Okay. Rainy day with a warm drink writing session, or warm day with a cool breeze writing session.
Warm day with cool breeze, because then I can be outside.
Okay, yeah. Having to convince your army that the king was secretly evil the whole time and you just killed them but only because he tried to kill you first, or burning down a third rebellion.
Can you say that again, but slower?
Yes.
Other people can't hear you with that speed.
Okay, having to convince your army that the king was secretly evil and you just killed him but only because he tried to kill you first, or accidentally burning down half of Wadonia.
Bring down what?
Half of Wadonia, the city.
Oh.
The first one.
Okay, alright.
That sounds like I'll be, yeah.
Surprise sequel or surprise prequel?
Surprise prequel, because that's what happens
Yeah.
in my head, or like,
Okay.
don't, like, yeah.
Sprayed edges or illustrated end papers?
Illustrated in papers, because I like to see the characters.
Yeah. Sneaking into town to buy supplies with stolen money and hoping no one recognizes you, or sneaking into the courtyard at night for scandalous rendezvous?
First one.
Okay. Far too many POVs than the story needs, or second person? I know, you gotta pick one.
I guess far too many
Okay.
point of views, because second person's a nightmare.
Yeah, being a Sanson in winter or a Willen in summer?
Sanson in winter, because then you can put on layers, but if you're a winter
Yeah.
person in summer, you can't keep, there's only so many layers you
Fair,
can take
yeah.
off, like you're gonna be too hot.
First book in a series or last book in a series?
First book.
All right, that's all I've got for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you as well. Great time.
Yeah, so if the audience has any questions, now would be the time.
The
And
questions I
obviously,
have, you wouldn't answer.
well, it depends on, it's, obviously, you haven't read the third, well, everybody here has read the first and second book, so I can answer questions that involve, like, you've read the first, have you read them?
I, Vanessa.
Okay,
I've
perfect.
seen both.
Awesome, so you can ask questions that could spoil those, because
Well-
we all know.
I want Echo to come back. She in there? See, you
I
can't
can either confirm or deny what the secretary's.
What was the question?
Is Echo coming back?
Oh, Echo.
Yeah, when I decided she was my favorite, and she disappeared.
Yeah, I can't say.
I know.
That bothers me too, like, yeah, she's gonna be this, and this, like, Echo was the big thing, yeah. She's a great character.
She's my favorite.
Oh, good.
She's my favorite, and I don't think she gets enough people to say she's their favorite, but
Yeah, I was offended by that too.
She's my favorite, yeah.
I had a couple people recently read book one and they loved it, and they were talking about how much they loved Echo, and I was like, I was like, oh, yeah, that's great. And they're like, we can't wait for book two. I'm like, It's like, well, you're gonna either be like, you're probably gonna finish it. If you finish book two, you're gonna probably finish the series. But I'm just like waiting for them to be like, how dare you?
Unless you really piss me off, yeah. I'll finish it.
Do you have any questions, ma'am?
Do you think you'll have a prequel to this one like you did to Assassin's series?
So
Because the prequel was really good.
it's not a prequel, it's a short story collection.
Well,
which
I know,
includes
but,
prequels.
sorry, daughter, some of it was a prequel. A couple of stories were prequels.
Oh, hi, Dad.
Hey, a couple of stories were prequels. in there.
Yeah, so I do actually plan to return to this world in the future with like, they might be short stories, they might be like novellas, which are shorter, they might be full novels, but because the world is so expansive, I want to revisit it. I spent a lot of work on the world, so there will be other books in the Finale Chronicles, but I can't promise you'll see like these characters again, but maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
See, because as people are reading the books, we miss the characters too, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I'm already reading, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so I will
that's
come
a hard
back,
part of being a reader.
but I want to work on other projects before I come back to this world, just give myself a break, otherwise I won't ever come out of the world, and that'll be a problem.
Every single book is just in this.
Well, it's like
This
Sandra
world.
Clare has like, I don't know, 20 books at least in the Shadowhunter series. She
Yeah.
keeps like adding more prequels and sequels, and like I don't want to fall into that. I want to have new stuff first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, any other questions? Alright, well, thank you for coming, Vanessa, like, really. Otherwise I'd just be talking to my mom, and that would be like, I mean, cool, but.
No, I told you I wanted to.
No, I know, that's awesome, I appreciate
I
it.
just
so
didn't
much.
think.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but that's how she
It
goes.
is
We
changing.
just we do what we can do.
Yeah.
If more people come later, we can just like do it
We just
again.
do it again?
I'm gonna replay the video, say, here's the video, go and watch it.
Yeah.
We'll put on the big screen, like,
Yeah.
watch it.
Your way, it sucks to be you.
Yeah, so, I guess we can get a book if you'd like a book or multiple books, we can sign them.
I'll take 3.
I didn't bring money, that's why I asked if I paid for it.
Yes, you already paid for it, so.